Let's welcome our wonderful panel of judges. Kyle Dent. Kyle is the research director for artificial intelligence at the Palo Alto Research Center. His work focuses on the intersection of people and technology. He chairs the AI ethics committee at PARC and has recently started working on the problems of misinformation and abusive language online. Kyle, could you please share a few words?
Sure. I'm just very happy to be here, and I'm especially looking forward to hearing about your projects. I know you've had a compressed amount of time to put things together, but I'm very excited to see what you've got.
Thank you. We have our next judge, Zorina Aliata. Zorina Aliata has extensive experience managing the strategy and delivery of software projects and has spent the last 6 years working in machine learning and artificial intelligence. Currently a machine learning strategist with Amazon, Zorina works with global customers who use R's, AI, and ML products and services to speed up their operations and enhance their ML adoption. Zorina is involved in AI for Good initiatives and working with nonprofit organizations to address major social and environmental challenges using artificial intelligence. She also volunteers in the Zonta Club of Fairfax, an organization that works to help girls join and thrive in STEM programs, and as a vice chair. Zorina, could you please share a few words?
Sure, just very excited to be here, and I cannot wait to see what great ideas you guys have. It's just great to see so many names and so many teams. There is a great need for all of you to come and work in AI, and we can't wait until you become our colleagues.
Thank you. Our next judge is Vivian Gomes. Vivian Gomes is an internationally acclaimed human-centered design and user experience mentor, a futurist designer working on artificial intelligence and data fairness frameworks, and an innovation evangelist. His work in the techno and human-centered design space has impacted 1 million of lives directly. Products or solutions he has delivered are used every day around the world with delightful addictive experiences in the pocket, in the hands, or on the desks, and in the premises of users and customers across cultures, regions, and people of all ages. He is also a board member of User Experience QCC Austria, speaker at World Usability Congress, global mentor at Google for Startups User Experience, design and artificial intelligence evangelist bringing cultural change in digital transformation across the world. Welcome, Vivian. Please share a few words.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet and be here with amazing young minds and the future of our tomorrow. And also a very happy Women's Day. In some regions, it's already Women's Day, but today, one day before. And looking forward to working with you, hearing you, and seeing what excitement you have in your presentations. All the best to each of you.
Thank you, Vivian. Our next judge is Uma Meyyappan. Uma Meyyappan is an innovation technology leader with over 20 years of experience in the technology industry, leading innovation, R&D, digital strategy, and product management. She currently is the head of product innovation at LPL Financials. Prior to that, Uma has worked in Wells Fargo, Fortune 500 companies, management consulting firms, and startups. Uma's extensive research in emerging technologies focused on digital payments, usage of data, biometrics, and augmented reality, virtual reality has resulted in over 25 issued United States patents in her name. Uma is deeply passionate about promoting women in tech and entrepreneurship. Welcome, Uma. Please share a few words.
Thank you so much. Super excited to be here. And first of all, I would like to tell the participants, kudos for taking the attempt and participating in this. So participation matters. We are so excited you're here. And the world needs all of you. So, and then we are all here to inspire and help and mentor. So keep going. I'm best wishes to each of you. I'm so excited to listen to your pitches today.
Thank you, Uma. So before we start the pitching, some house rules. Participants, when we call your team, Please unmute yourself and turn your cameras on if you have consented for the live streaming photography. And each team will have exactly 3 minutes to present their pitch, and judges will ask you questions for 2 more minutes. And once you're done, you can then turn off your camera and unmute yourself. And Chuck will give you the timing rules.
Yes, so basically I'll be using the Zoom background to turn the timing at 2 minutes when you're presenting. I'll be turning the green background on. At 2.5 minutes, I'll be turning the yellow background on. At 3 minutes, I'll be turning the red background on. In the judging session, it'll be 1 minute, 1.5, and 2 minutes, green, yellow, and red. This way we are all keeping track of time. Over to you, Siva.
Thank you. So we welcome the very first team, Clarence Ellis team. Seems like we have a participant from France. So this team wanted to go first. Clarence Ellis team, we have 5 participants, Bella, Harshata, Sophia, Elizabeth, and Camille. Could you all please turn on your camera and unmute yourself? Once you're ready, Chuck will start the timer.
Okay, are we all ready to start? Everybody here?
Yeah. Who's sharing the screen?
I'm on a Chromebook, so I can't share the screen, but if you could go ahead and do that, that'd be great.
I am scared that it's gonna freeze like the last time. I'd rather that not happen.
Okay,
So-
sorry, technical difficulties. I will pull up the slides. I was working on my iPad. I probably should have thought of that beforehand.
Oh, Aileen is also part of our team. So
Yeah.
you should also, okay.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Just about. Let me share my screen and then. Oh, the host has disabled screen sharing.
Oh, we need to enable screen sharing.
Yeah, you should be able to share now.
Cool. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then we are ready to present. So hello, we are the Clarence Ellis team, and for our project, we have done TutorBot, an AI helping students succeed. Our story. So our founders all have one thing in common, a lack of help and resources at home. For Bella and I, we aren't able to go to our parents because of their poor English and inadequate education. For Eileen, she can only ask her dad, and if he doesn't know, well, she's stuck. For Sophia, her teachers aren't allowed to help her after a certain amount of time. But it's not just us, and that's why the private tutoring industry is so large and still growing. As you can see from this chart, the industry is increasing at a large rate in a pretty short amount of time. So our solution. Our TutorBot uses AI to answer your question, very similarly to how Google's Alexa or Siri would. And if it can't answer your questions, then it compares you with the tutor that has the best possible results after you both, not just the student, but the tutor as well, has taken almost a placement test in order to have the maximum amount of success, both of your strong fields.
So the first step is to type in a question and start your research. And TutorBot will answer that question. And if not, then it will, next slide. Then it will match you up with a tutor that is best suited for you, that will help you succeed in your project.
So how we built this. First, we worked as a team to decide on a problem we thought was important and wanted to solve. Next, we brainstormed ideas of how to solve the problem. After that, we looked for supporting data sets and started to build code using Python tools. Next was testing to make sure there were no flaws. After that, we collaborated on a pitch and launched the product. Some challenges we ran into were time, or rather the lack of it, the need for more clarity on some things, the different levels of experience within our team, like how some were more experienced with Python and how some weren't, and finding the right but reliable resources. The next steps to take are to gather data for TutorBot, train the models, and test and launch the product. The help we need for this is technical support, funding for TutorBot, finding volunteers to help the students, and gathering data.
TutorBot is a way to help millions of students without needing millions of tutors. Thank you for listening to our pitch. And does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Before judges start the question, sorry, I had some technical difficulty in changing the background. But I was timing and was typing the time in the chat. While the judges ask questions, I'll sign off and re-sign in to see if I can make the background work for the next sessions. Please go ahead.
I'll start with a question. That was great. Thank you for that, first of all. And it looks like you did some background data searching with your graph to show the demand. That's really excellent. I was wondering about when the TutorBot cannot answer the question, then it would fall back to a person, I take it. You would match up a person who is a tutor?
Yes.
Did you think at all about how you would match the right tutor with the student who's having trouble?
Yes, I think I can answer that. So when both the student and the tutors who are volunteers sign into TutorBot, they both will answer some questions, like the student will answer questions about what topic they need help with, if they have any like learning disabilities, or like the specific school system that they are. And the volunteers will also fill out like their area of expertise, what subjects they can help with, the school systems that they know, and the skills that they have to help students with different needs, so that they will match up the most compatible people.
Great.
Okay, I can go next. So I really think you guys are onto something. Who doesn't need a tutor? Everyone, every student that I know, nobody's that good that will never need a tutor again. So I think that's great. I was wondering, I have two questions. First, have you considered, instead of writing your own code in Python, maybe using some services that already exist out there, like chatbots that are already, done by other companies that you could maybe use to kind of accelerate your program instead of coding it yourself? And the second question is, what kind of data sets you guys would like to have, you think you need to have to get this started?
So I think I can answer these questions. So for your first question, I'm sorry, I completely blanked. All right, yes, we'll start with the second question. For the second question, we actually, because of time, we were not able to start prototyping. But the data sets that we wanted to use were mostly from graduation statuses on, 12th graders upon graduating. How many of them had, what their GPA was, how many credits they fully completed, how many times they had to redo classes. And we were going to essentially just feed that data to our AI and, train it that way. For the first question, we actually were considering, I think in the very, very beginning, like on day one, in the first 15 minutes, one of our mentors was actually working with widgets and, the little icon that pops up and talks to you. So we were 100% considering doing something like that. And it's a very, very high possibility that if this were to happen and fully become, a product, that we may choose to do that just for the sake of time.
Thank you.
Awesome. I don't have a question. I'm just going to give you a comment. I don't know how much time we have for the questions, but I think you guys did a great job. Amazing storytelling presentation and all of it. And did you end up doing any kind of coding at all? I mean, your design and the concept is good, but did you end up doing anything in the last couple of days? Okay, cool.
No.
But this was awesome.
What are the ethical implications of your work?
I don't think that there are many, but maybe in the profiling when matching the students with the tutors, there can be some biases or other problems with that. That's where I imagine the problems would be.
No questions for me too. Great job, girls. Very
Okay.
nice.
Okay, I think that ends the timing for the judging questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move on to the next team. Grace Harper team. Maraki, Pailing, Mahi, Winton, and Stephanie. Could you guys please turn on your camera and unmute yourself? Grace Harper team, are you here?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
Hello everyone, our app is called Learn and Thrive and is made by the Grace Hopper team.
The problem is that many students struggle with school and students refrain from asking questions during class in fear of sounding dumb or stupid. They also fear being judged by their teachers and peers. These problems can cause students to feel unmotivated and their grades could start to drop. However, we've created a solution to this problem.
Our project is an app that helps high school students with school. Learn and Thrive can motivate and guide students by helping them with homework and subjects.
We've created a prototype. Here's a start. Sign up, sign in. We have the chat where you can ask our bot a question and it will reply with the answer and explanation. Videos from YouTube on classes. Your teacher list where you can contact your teacher and view past classes, and a profile where you could see all your statistics.
How do we use AI? Our app is implemented with a Drive bot where users can ask questions and get help in order to solve the problem. Another helps guide the user for general tutorial. The impact of remote learning has been a problem to students around the country. During the fall of 2020, 42% of students received 1 or more Fs in the first grading period, which was virtual.
Now, our app is different from all the other apps out there because our app allows you to get in contact with your teachers and get the help that you need. Another thing to note is our app provides a custom way for high school students to receive the answers while explaining the concept using the chat feature. With our app, Learn and Thrive, there will be an anonymous feature so students can ask questions without judgment. Instead of tearing students down, our app is going to be lifting students up and motivating them to push through and reassuring them that they will understand and that they're going to do great. So, what do you say? Let's spread knowledge, teach, and learn to show you the best possibilities to a better education for all. Thank you. Any comments or questions?
I can get it started. So this is really nice. I really like the idea of having the app has two different paths. One is for, helping someone with answers, and the other one is just in general, offering courses and help with general, just general knowledge. I think that's great, and you'll have double the audience for it. I was wondering, have you considered personalizing some of the content for specific users and people? Just when I log in, kind of personalize what I can see based on my experience with the app or something like that?
Yeah, I guess I can answer that. So as part of the videos, we were thinking, because when you're on Zoom, sometimes students have bad internet connection and they're not able to watch the full Zoom with bad internet connection. So the teachers can go and post their Zoom videos into the app so students can go back and look at what they missed during class.
I have a question too. So first of all, wonderful presentation. I was very impressed that you were able to do UI prototyping already. That's fantastic. It seems to me that what you were pitching had as much a emotional supportive component to it as just conveying whatever information someone was trying to learn. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes.
So the idea of thriving. How did you think about what kinds of things you could do to support students emotionally in that way? Or in what ways? Can you be a little more specific about how the technology could do that?
Yes, I guess I'll answer that. I believe that emotional support is so much bigger and mental health is so much bigger than just school in itself. So I believe that if students are struggling and if they are needing that help and they're afraid to ask for that help, it may be hard for them, and that mental component needs to be put in some way so they can.
So the tool would help them to feel freer about looking for help. That the idea? Very nice.
Hey, one of the additional things I'm not sure if you thought about, but you should, is the tool is, for shy people, the tool is going to be helping them ask the questions in a quiet environment. But at the same time, if there are some nuggets or some kudos that are given, it'll boost the self-confidence. It'll tie in directly to the ethics and how AI could help them become a better person overall, not just in the classroom itself. So that's a nice angle which you could think of outside.
What might be your technical limitations or any limitations? Did you think of that?
I guess probably the rewarding system, just not having the money to fund the app, and then motivating other people. So with the rewards, it can motivate other people to get their work done, to get some sort of reward, and we would need funding for that.
Okay, nice. I really love the way you have presented. Great job, girls.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I think the time is up.
Okay.
So Let's move on to the next team, Catherine Johnson team, Geneva, Sonia, Zoe, Annie, and Sophia. Catherine Johnson team, please unmute yourself and turn on your camera.
Okay, is everyone here?
Yep, we can see it. Go ahead. Your time starts now.
When I was younger, my mom and I had a conversation that I still remember to this day. She had told me about how she had always dreamed to pursue a career in the science field, the subject that had appealed to her most. Despite her ambitions, even those closest to her discouraged her from pursuing such a future when she should be at home prepping the food and caring for the kids. She looked at me and said that she could not imagine such a disheartening future for me and hoped one day that I would be able to achieve what she couldn't. But even as I have grown, I have seen countless other women tied down to the same fate.
So our problem is that teens need a way to be educated about gender stereotypes and gender equality, and to be encouraged to take part in STEM-related activities. This is especially important for girls because they are underrepresented in the STEM field.
And to provide some background to the problem, according to the AAUW, women only make up 28% of the workforce in STEM. And as you can see from this graph, learning STEM outside of the classroom benefits girls' experience in STEM and improves their attitude towards it. Young women might think they have made a mistake when experiencing the challenges of completing a STEM major when they don't understand the opportunities that are available to them.
Our overachieving conflict is how might we educate both girls and boys about gender stereotypes and encourage the girls especially to take part in STEM-related activities.
So STEM Connect is an app that will use AI to recommend STEM-based workshops to users based off of their interests and preferences that they select and enter when they make an account, and also by gradually learning what they want based on their ratings of the events that they've been to. And it will provide them then with increasingly relevant suggestions.
Additionally, one of the prerequisites to taking part in this competition is to take a course in gender inequality and to learn about stereotypes common in society. The more workshops the kid attends, the more points they get. Also, the harder the workshops or competitions are, the more points they will be rewarded. The top 10 kids in the state will be awarded scholarships and great internship opportunities. This will motivate more girls as well as boys to take part in the statewide competition and also give them a chance to learn more about the STEM field. Our target audience or persona is middle schoolers and high schoolers, grades 6 to 12, with an emphasis on girls.
So how will we get our data to know if this is really a need? We will interview teens, educators, and parents by sending a Google form for them to fill out. This will let us know if teens will use an app like this, and if parents would like their kids to use an app like this to connect them to other STEM activities.
So here's pretty much how it'll look like. The first picture on the left is like the first page you'll see when you open it, and there's two buttons, log in and sign up. If you've already got an account, you can log in and on the top part, and if you need to sign up, it'll take you to the bottom pages in order, and it'll ask you questions personalized. So it can find out information, and after you complete all the pages, it'll take you to the page on the top right, which is our workshops, and it shows you what workshops you can attend.
Sorry, if someone is talking, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. So we will help by providing a fun and accessible way for girls to participate in STEM activities in the hope of working to end gender inequality. Thank you for listening.
Great job, girls. You have even included a good prototype. I have one question, quick one to get in. How is the machine learning or the AI part tied into it? Because your data model or the learning ability, how is this an AI project?
So I can answer that question. Basically, you get recommended personalized workshops based on your past workshops you've attended, or you in the beginning, you get to choose like what workshops you're interested in. So like if you're more interested in science, you will get recommended more of those kind of workshops.
Okay.
How are you trying to get in all the events that are around either the area or virtual, or what's your idea to bring all the events?
The app is more of a way to connect students with possible opportunities that might be relevant to them, and less of a way to actually transport them or get them to those places. It's more of a way to educate them about the things that they might not have known about and give them what they might want to see.
Yeah, that's right. That was my question. So how are you trying to bring that opportunity into the app?
We will be like contacting those organizations holding those events and asking them like for us to like, because it would help them if we bring more kids to join their events. So they will probably like let us spread it to more children.
So would you consider this being like, you said, the personalized experience? So if I were to use your app, when I log in, I see my saved videos, like my own library of content. Is that what you're envisioning? Is that? And then the app will recommend me things that I might be interested in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah, I'm wondering about this, the premise of the idea is that if girls have access to the events, they are more likely to pursue a STEM career. Like, so if there's outside activities they can participate in, is that like, do you know that, or is that something you think you would have to test? I get what I'm getting at is that are you taking that as an absolute truth, or is that part of something you would have to maybe you need a survey around that kind of thing too, or look at other studies?
Well, to like ask these type of questions, like feedback about how, if they want to attend more events, we have like a survey to collect data about these things.
Thank you. It was very, very nice presentation.
Thank you. And that wraps up the time for this session.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to the next team, Annie Easley team. Princess Ada, Chelsea, Avery, Maulika, and Kavita. Annie Easley team, please unmute yourself and turn on your camera.
Hello. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we can see the screen and your time starts now.
With all the injustice women are facing in the workplace and just in life itself, it's hard to deal with all the stress, and most women don't quite know what to do. In an attempt to solve this issue, we created the app Mubella. Women who are facing injustice in their workplace because of gender inequality do not have access to the best resources, and they need a source to release their thoughts and get assisted.
Women only get paid 80% of what men get paid. In some countries, men can even prevent their wives from working. Out of the women that we surveyed, 3 of them were denied a promotion, and the same amount of people were rejected from a job because of their gender. 2 of them were harassed, and only 1 of them felt like they weren't being discriminated against.
So about Mubella, here are the features of our app. We have a live streaming feature for job shadowing, a safety button for emergencies, and a therapy chatbot. So how we utilize AI in our chatbot. So our chatbot will be using natural language processing, also known as NLP, and sentiment analysis, so that it won't develop any bias as it will be tested with other users of different ages. And we plan to use the AI bot to analyze the info that's given to find the best way to mediate its user.
So this is what our app would look like. So you can enter the app and you will be navigated to a few different screens. You can go to the emergency button, which you can click if a woman feels uncomfortable in any kind of situation, or you could join any live stream to learn about different jobs, basically job shadow. And we also have the AI therapy bot, Ella, and here's an example of what it would look like.
Our main audience is women between the ages of 18 through 80, and all kinds of jobs are allowed on this app.
So how can we protect data? We know you may have some questions regarding our emergency button that may give away the location of our user. So we plan to strictly only give that information to nearby law enforcement. So we also may protect our data by using data encryption and as well as making our users anonymous. How will this profit? We made a pro version that has no ads and it has more content for the users, and they will have to pay. So hi, I'm Chelsea, the project manager.
I'm Kavita, and I did the research.
I'm Malika, and I did the graphic designer.
And I'm Anushree, the programmer.
Here are the resources we used. In honor of Women's History Month and Women's Day, we created Mubella. We hope to make a difference and lift all women around the world up. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Amazing work, girls. Really nice.
I am totally speechless. This is beautiful. It's like a business case, you guys, that you can take right now in front of any company. You did an amazing job and you thought of all the angles, including calculated profit. So that's excellent. Great to see. And not to mention, it sounds great. And from I love the idea of being able to job shadow. As you know, we do that, when we work, we do that a lot inside of a company, but the idea that you can job shadow, folks who do other different jobs than what you have, I think it's amazing. I would love to do that myself and see what other women are doing. So I think you're onto something quite big. I love the idea that your bot will be trained in NLP and sentiment analysis as well. That is great, and that it's very used right now. So great job, amazing, super impressed with you.
Yeah, totally. I would echo the sentiments. You guys thought about the actual go-to-market strategy, the profit, the full version, light version, all of that. And the other thing that I think which was really amazing was you actually thought about the data encryption aspects of it as well, which is really good. It shows the maturity. So one of the things that I would probably, since you guys are already thinking, I'm going to push you to the next, and I'm going to suggest a few other things on, you do have the emergency button, and I believe that the emergency button, you'd have to probably explain a little bit more on what the emergency button really means, right? So is it in case of like a harassment situation, or what are your plans on that? And then what more you could really extract information, and then how you could apply more. So those are some of the things you could start thinking. But what was your thinking process when you put the emergency button, if I
So yeah, our emergency button was strictly or exactly for like harassment situations, or yeah, in case of like really dangerous situations if any woman's in. Because there's not always a time where a woman can call 911 in case they're being harassed, right? So yeah, and we also plan to have like a consent form so that the user would know that they're going to give away that information.
Good job.
Thank you.
This is very ambitious in its in the problems it's going after. That's fantastic, and very very thought through.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like a pro team working on a real world scenario. You girls are amazing. This is ready, as Zorina was saying.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you guys have any more questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. That wraps up this session. Over to you, Siva.
Thank you. So the next team is Kimberly Bryan team, Stephanie L, Justin C, April, Shreya, Abigail, and Eileen. Kimberly Bryan team, could you please unmute yourself and turn on your camera?
Okay. If you're all ready, you can start now. We can see your screen. Your time starts now.
All right. Meet Emma. Emma is a 14-year-old girl who just moved to a new school. To make things worse, before she was able to make friends, the pandemic has prohibited her from doing so. These factors, added on to her growing pile of schoolwork, are making her stressed, like really stressed. I'm sure that many of us can relate to Emma's situation in one way or another, so we made the Bubbles app for people like her.
School places immense stress on middle and high school students. Virtual learning has made students more isolated from peers without direct access to mental health resources, especially for students in poor communities. We created Bubbles to help middle and high school students cope with stress in school and give mental health resources to students who might not have access to them otherwise.
One of the features in the app is the mood calendar. Every month would have different focuses, and responses and interaction with the mood calendar would be connected with the chatbot and the counselors page.
Using natural language processing algorithms and diverse voice and text data sets to train our model, our chatbot will be able to respond to users with relevant and appropriate responses and provide personalized tips when the user types something to the bot. All of this will be private and confidential.
Our next two features are the resources page and the counselors page. The resources page has a list of ways to help your mental health, and this includes many hotlines that fit the user's needs. And as you can see on the picture, the resources page also connects us to the counselors page, where users can talk to professionals, teachers, and counselors. And AI personalizes this page by placing counselors that fit the user's needs near the top of the page.
Finally, there are mini games, which are a variety of simple, fun, non-addictive games to alleviate the user's stress. All of the features connect like so. Users start the app with a tutorial to learn features. From there, the user will fill out a mood tracker, which will direct them to either resources or the chatbot. The chatbot, if needed, will direct the user to the resources or mini games, all based on what our app's AI thinks the user needs.
For our business The revenue we earn is from the consumers when users choose to continue meeting with them, and from the game developers that pay to feature their games on the app. Funding that would help the app is from the mental health organizations, school PTAs, and the crowdfunding.
And finally, here's a quote from Kimberly Bryant herself. You can absolutely be what you can't see. That's what innovators and disruptors do. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Good job, girls. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, very nice presentation. So I think you may have said this, you will detect the mood of users in order to show the right resources?
So,
Sorry,
yeah, Stephanie, you can go ahead.
Okay, so using a mood tracker, based on the user's replies or answers to the mood tracker, we will direct the user to the resources page, and there or either the resources page or the chatbot feature, depending on what the AI thinks like is the level of need the users need. And on the resources page, they can call helpful numbers, or they can also talk to a counselor. And then on the chatbot feature, we're planning to use sets of data that can recognize different moods, like text, if this text is angry emotions or sad emotions or joyous emotions, and use that to formulate appropriate responses to the situation. And if the chatbot detects that there is something that needs human intervention, then it will send it to the resources page.
I see. So it'd do it based on what the person is saying. You would do natural language processing, sentiment analysis to know the mood.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I really like the mini games. That was my favorite part. I think the whole app was useful and good, but I thought the mini games was an original idea, and I think that many studies have proven that they're very helpful when people are stressed, just to help bring it down a bit. And I think that's a great idea, and also the fact that you thought that that could be a source of revenue for the app. I think that definitely could happen in real life, and it could be very useful to your users. I wasn't clear on how the counselors would join in and pay to be on the app. I wasn't really clear on how the counselors would come in.
Okay, so the counselors basically, the app kind of serves as a platform for them. So like if the user like talks to a counselor and they want to continue like sessions with the counselor, then some of that might go to us as well.
Got it.
So the counselors are so they're listening in basically. They can join and see the mood of the student, and then they can encourage or do the things. Is that the thought process?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
If there are no further questions, we can wrap this up and then move on to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Hector Garcia Molina team. Zia, I do not know if I am pronouncing her name correct. Zia, Sherry, Anya, Tu, and Nitya. Hector Garcia Molina team, please unmute yourself and turn on your camera. Hector Garcia team, are you here?
Yes, hello. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share screen. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
How often have you thrown a plastic bottle away and felt that little twinge of guilt? Or maybe you've thought about volunteering to do a park cleanup, but you're wondering where to find the time. A striking 10 million tons of plastic are dumped into oceans every year. Ecosystems across the world are collapsing. Climate change affects us all. It's slowly destroying our planet, polluting our waters, and damaging the air quality.
You want to help the environment, but where do you start? Volunteering pick up trash can be a large time commitment, and you don't have enough time to cook all your meals from scratch. What if you could make a difference in 5 minutes?
Introducing Your Green Friend. With Your Green Friend, you can do exactly that and more. Your Green Friend is here to provide simple suggestions to make your daily habits more eco-friendly. All you have to do is answer a few questions provided by an AI-powered chatbot, also known as Your Green Friend. You'll then receive instant feedback on simple things you can change about your day-to-day schedule to help the environment.
For example, the chat box may ask me how many times I've ordered takeout in the past month. If I respond with every day, the bot might say, here's a list of eco-friendly restaurants near you. You could prevent 5 pounds of styrofoam from falling into the ocean just by ordering takeout from there this month.
Okay, so here's a little demo of the prototype we created. So it would basically be a website that when you click on the home page, it will lead you to a form site. This is where we initially planned to put our chatbot here, but due to the time given, we were unable to, so we have put it on a separate file. Okay, so here is a rough draft of what we want the bot to look like. So when we run the bot, it would introduce itself as the green bot. So we would type something like hi or hello, and the green bot would welcome you to learn about how your daily activity could affect the environment. So you could say something like, yes, I want to learn more. And then it would ask you the first question about how often you order takeout. And then let's just say you type in every day or 7 days a week. Oh, every day. It would bring us suggestions on what else you can do to, in order to replace that daily habit of ordering takeout. And then it would give a fact about how the styrofoam, which is the materials that is used in most takeout, could affect the environment. And you could type something like interesting. And the chat box would ask you the next question, which is how many disposable grocery bags do you use? And you could say about 10 bags. And the chat box would then give you another suggestions on what is a better alternative that you could use and what are some effects that plastic bags have on the aquatic life. Okay. So for our market strategy, we plan to generate revenue in 2 ways. The first one is to display ads through Google AdSense, and the other one is to partner with qualified eco-friendly establishment who would pay to be Your Green Friend certified vendor.
We all want to help the environment, but most people don't know how. This is where Green Friend comes to be your friend and support. The earth is what we all have in common. Now is the time to use our force to make a long-lasting impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
So I can get started. I think it was great, and you guys had a demo and a whole website. Wow, I was super impressed with that. That's wonderful. I was wondering, like, do you think that your app, your chatbot, will learn as you talk to him, like to it? Like learn about you and your habits, so it doesn't every time ask about how many bags you use every day, and then you know what I mean, like maybe you become more mature as a person by using the bot. Will the bot learn and ask different questions as it grows? Do you think it will be something like that?
Yes. Does anyone want to take this question? Or
Sure. So we do plan on having that happen so that the experience is more personalized and efficient. And we also will have an ethics consideration by putting a disclaimer before the user starts talking to the chatbot to ensure that they're consenting.
I could make a suggestion actually. Lovely presentation, but you could think through. There are chatbots are way too many out there, so you could think of putting this as a part of like DoorDash or any other food delivery app to get more people to understand what your chatbot can add value to the restaurant, because most of the other ones are just order. They don't care whether there's plastic or earth destroying materials. So those kind of thought processes could help.
Yes.
Great job, girls.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. And one other thing is behind the scenes, as you suggest, that could also be an angle to the restaurants or the other service providers to indicate them that, hey, you are doing this much, and then that could be an angle to either generate revenue or also educate them, not just the one side like the user, right? So they could also be users as well. So.
Yeah, we're definitely open to considering that.
Well, one more thing that you could think about is, even though there is awareness, there is also creation. So if there's an avenue to push recyclable material to other vendors who could become your partners and take materials or waste segregation and pickup and disposal system.
Yes. That's a great idea.
Okay, if there are no further questions, we can move on to the next session. Thank you.
Okay, we now have our final team, Preeti Shankar team, Maria, Anushri, Sarah, Megan, Charlotte, and Ketivin. Preeti Shankar team. Please unmute yourself and turn on your camera. Thank you.
My camera's broken today, so we're just going this cameraless.
Okay, so Ketivine should be sharing her screen.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's not using my main camera. I don't know what else I should. Is it okay if I don't have my camera on?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, we can see your screen. Your time starts now.
All right. Climate change is changing our world. Our solution, Envireminder, a Google Calendar extension that will help you become a better environmental citizen.
We keep ignoring the environment, but it's the key to our future. So how can we encourage more people to take action?
Combating climate change is a team effort. We aim to educate people around the world on ways to get involved in helping our environment.
Our AI solution is a Google Calendar extension that provides pop-ups and it scans your daily activities and tasks to offer you suggestions or reminders on cleaner, more environmental-friendly alternatives.
So we will feed our AI program with data from sample Google Calendars to train it with a global range of calendar activity phrasing, and we will teach it with these keywords that are possibly associated with harming the environment, and to use user location to give users personalized pop-ups based on their area. Our goal is to not only prevent harmful conscious events, but also unscheduled things like picking up your kid from school, so you can be more climate conscious in your day-to-day life.
Global warming, after all, is global, which is why this extension will be available for all ages all over the world for people who use Google Calendar.
Through surveys and interviews, we can gather data from users to understand the general population and train our AI to become more unbiased and representative. We can also use samples of calendars to understand how people write events, so our AI can give suggestions in a clear format that people can see useful.
The way that we're different from our competitors is that we're helping the climate in many different ways. We will encourage environmentally friendly companies to pay for advertisements for their products to be featured as a cleaner alternative. This is a way of making money by promoting the environment in a healthy way.
This is a layout on how the program can read the events if someone were to drive to the post office, or let's say take out the trash as scheduled in a calendar or seen in location tracking.
If you input the event, go to the grocery store. A pop-up might be to use reusable bags.
This is an example of how a pop-up may look on your Google Calendar.
The following 2 slides are a visual flowchart for how the code may run.
So some people may not have access to our suggested cleaner alternatives, like trying to take the ferry instead of flying somewhere. By using AI for location data, we can make even more smarter and personalized recommendations based on each area, and to keep our program hack safe.
Join us as we save our planet. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any questions?
I could start. Really impressive, especially in the technical details. The idea of tying into an existing Google Calendar, I think, is a really good one. But also, you mentioned that there were more ad hoc things that people do, like drive to the post office, which wouldn't necessarily appear in the calendar. How would you handle those?
So yeah, for our AI program, we want to use not just data from their Google Calendars, but also location tracking. So by knowing when or where they are and seeing, okay, what's in that area, what could they possibly be doing in that moment? And let's say, filling up their car with some gas, they can get, just a friendly pop-up or reminder from our program that says, oh, hey, remember, driving emits CO2 and that's bad for our environment. So just keeping people aware of how they could be impacting the environment, and in other scenarios, also giving alternatives or suggestions.
Did you think about a business model or how it would be funded?
Yes, we on one of our previous slides, I think we mentioned that our program would be funded by ads that would like bring up products and stuff that could help you better.
And
I see. So the recommendations you have would be the businesses would pay to have their products recommended?
So yeah, some of our recommendations could be products that, because I mean, there are companies out there that do make, environmentally friendly products. And so some of our suggestions would be those products that they can pay to advertise to their company.
I think you picked up on something very interesting that you could explore further, which was the ethical issues. I think a lot of people want to do good and not take an airplane, right? But they have to, or they have no other choice. Not everybody has the luxury of, getting takeout from a certain place, or, spending more money to get environment-friendly thing. And I think that you can definitely dig into that dimension a little more and see how you can actually help provide, the right option for the right people based on where they are and, the type of activities they do. Also be careful because we're talking about ethics, right? And I'm sure Kyle has more to say about that. But, we can't discriminate against people just based on where they are, right? To just assume that makes assumptions about them without them consenting and agreeing to that first. But I think it's a very interesting dimension that you guys picked on, and I think it's definitely worth some more thinking and researching on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. Like, not every company probably might be. What if there are better companies that are not actually sponsoring you, right? So, but from an ethics perspective, you should be focused on giving those options, even though those companies are not sponsoring you. But they are the best for the user. Putting that in mind, and then you have to think about the ad revenue as a separate thing, not tied to your recommendation. You have to decouple those two things.
I have just a small recommendation, girls. Take a look at the PAIR guidelines, which is People and Artificial Intelligence, People Research and Artificial Intelligence from Google. It's open. There are 52 metrics, principles over there, which will help you understand how these two things tie up, that is people and AI, and better use that into your solution if you plan to take this forward. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, that wraps up this session. Over to you, Siva.
So now the judges need some time to do the judging. So we have a volunteer, Soundarya Manigandan. She will be engaging you with a lot of fun activities.